Hi, and welcome back to Kstar Wellness. My name is Kristin, and today I'm going to teach you how to do a chin stand. So chin stand is a definitely challenging hand balancing move that we'll be doing. It requires a lot of openness across your chest and your upper back, like where your thoracic spine is. So most of the exercises that we'll be focusing on today will prep us for that. Strengthen the open position, we'll do some core work, we'll do some back bending. And for today's flow, you're definitely gonna want 2 blocks to help us get into those deeper positions of the chest and shoulders. So let's go ahead and get started in a child's pose. We're gonna come towards the back of our mat today with our knees together, our toes together, and then just lay your belly right on your thighs. Take your hands out in front of you. And then bend your elbows in half, coming into a prayer hands with dropped behind the back of your head. So you just want to walk your elbows a little bit more forward and a little bit more in towards one another, and allow the shape of your elbows, your upper arms, your lower back to settle in. And then we'll just do 3 breaths here, so emptying out all of the air inside of your body. Take a big breath in through your nose, fill up your belly. Fill up your heart, fill up your head. And a big breath out. Just 2 more breaths, letting the body receive the stretch for that tricep, the shoulder. Inhale. And exhale. And then 1 more big breath in through your nose. Fill yourself all the way up. And a big breath out. From here, let's re-extend our arms nice and long, heavier palms into the mat, and then roll ourselves forward into our tabletop hands and knees. So we'll do hands underneath shoulders and knees underneath hips. And just a few rounds of cows and cats. So on your inhale, arch and look up towards your sky, open your chin away from your chest. And then on your exhale, do the opposite round, hollow out, pull your navel up and in. And then 2 more times like that, inhaling, arching, and looking up. And exhaling, rounding. And looking in, and then 1 more time, inhale, arch, and look up towards your sky. And exhale, round, hollow out, draw the navel up and in. Good. Because chin stand is definitely a hand balancing thing, we want to warm up our wrists and our forearms to prepare them for weight bearing. So we'll take our fingertips and turn them towards our knees. Already, this can be a lot of sensation for most of us in our forearms and wrists. So if that's you, you're just going to stay right here and navigate that discomfort with your breath. If you've got a little bit more room to move around and play around in your forearms and wrists, start to just rock the weight forward and back from the heel of your hand to your fingerprint, and notice how as you move forward and back, you'll start to feel a deeper stretch in your forearms here. Good, and then after a few rocks forward and back, we'll just shift back forward and turn our fingertips in to face one another with our knuckles on the ground and our palms facing up. From here, you're going to make a fist with both of your hands. Again, this can be really uncomfortable already, just that fist action. So if that's you, you're going to stay right here. If you're ready for a little bit more intensity, bend your elbows out towards the side, lowering your forehead down to the ground, and then press yourself back up and come up onto your knuckles. So straight arms, locked out wrists. And then we'll just do that a few more times. Come back onto the top of your hands, bend your elbows out towards the side, kind of like a push-up. Press yourself back up and flip onto your knuckles. Good, let's do that 2 more times. Back onto the top of your hands, bend your elbows out to the side. Press yourself back up and coming onto those knuckles. And then 1 more time. Onto the back of your hands, bend your elbows out to the side. Press yourself back up and come right back onto your knuckles. Then let's take our hands and open them back up, just coming into a neutral position in our hands and tabletop hands and knees. From here, I call these palm push-ups. So you want to ground down into the knuckle pads of your hands. And then you're just going to lift up the heel of your hand so that your wrist stays flat. Then on your exhale, lower the heel of your hand back down to the ground. So a few more times like that, lifting the heel of the hand up and lowering back down. So if you were a dancer, this is really similar to what dancers would do with their feet when they go on releve and then they lower themselves down. Then we'll just do a few more like that, lifting the heel of your hand up and lowering down. 2 more, lifting up and lowering down, and then 1 more time, lift up and lower down. Cool. Okay, so now that the wrists are warm up, let's start to warm up our chest, our shoulders by going into a puppy pose. This is a pretty big back bend here, so notice if this is gonna be too much for you, you can always back out of the shape. To go into the fullest expression of this back bend, start by extending your left arm forward and then your right arm forward. You're gonna lower your chest and chin down onto the floor in a similar way that they would be on the ground when you're actually doing your chin stand. So the bottom of my chin is touching the ground, the top of my chest is touching the ground. Then I'm drawing my navel back in towards my spine to keep my lower back protected as I find this curvature in my back. So just a few breaths here, inhale and exhale. 2 more, inhale and exhale. And then 1 more big breath in and a big breath out. Keep your forearms on the ground, tuck your chin into your chest, and start to roll yourself forward into your Sphinx pose. So your elbows are underneath your shoulders, your forearms are making the number 11 here. And then draw the mat back towards you. So it's like you're trying to pull the earth towards your hips as you lift your chest forward and up. Rolling the shoulders back, take a big breath in, and a big breath out. Good, 1 more like that. Inhale, and exhale. And then we'll slowly just lower ourselves all the way down to the ground and get a little bit more into the chest and shoulders. So you're gonna extend your right arm out to the side, fingertips in line with your shoulders, arm is straight. Turn your right cheek to the mat and take your left hand underneath your shoulder. From here, you'll press into your left palm and start to roll over to the right side of your body. So if this feels like a lot for you, you're gonna stay right here. If you need more sensation, like this isn't a stretch at all for your chest or shoulder, lift your left leg up, bend your knee in half, and place the sole of your left foot on the ground behind you. Again, if this feels like, okay, now I'm starting to get a stretch, you stay right here. If you need a little bit more, you can bend your bottom right knee in half so that your feet touch. And then we'll just breathe here for a beat. And then there's just 1 more level up that you can take. So again, if you feel like I need more of a stretch, you're gonna bring your right foot on the floor as well and point both of your knees up towards the sky, pouring a lot of weight into your right shoulder and the side of your head. And we'll just breathe here, inhaling and exhaling. 2 more breaths, inhale and exhale. And then 1 more big breath in and a big breath out. Good, and then the same way that we got into it, we're gonna get out of it nice and slow. So right knee comes back down, extend the right leg long, left leg comes on top of the right, and then we'll bring our belly to the mat and set up for the other side. So your left arm is gonna extend out to the left, and you want your left fingertips to be in line with your shoulder. You'll then turn your left cheek to the mat, right hand underneath your right shoulder, and start to roll over to the left side of your body. So both sides of our body are going to be different in terms of their openness, their availability, their strength. So if this is the side of you that needs a little bit less, then honor that and there's no need to move on. If you don't feel any sensation in your left shoulder or your left chest, float your right leg up, bend your knee in half, and place the sole of your foot behind your left leg. So just starting to get a little bit more intense in that shoulder girdle. And again, 2 more variations that you can do just to intensify the feeling here. You might bend your bottom left knee in half and bring the feet to touch, almost like a Supta Baddha Konasana. Few breaths here just to let the body acclimate. And then if you end up needing even more sensation than this, you can always take your left foot flat on the floor so that both of your knees are facing up towards the sky. And we'll just breathe, inhale and exhale. Good, 2 more. And then 1 more big breath in. And a big breath out. Good, let's lower the left knee back down to the ground. Extend the left leg long. Right leg stacks on top of the left, and then we'll come back onto our bellies. Take your hands, lay them on top of one another, forehead on top of your hands, and then bend your knees in half. Just do a little bit of a windshield wiper from side to side. So to get even more strength in our upper backs, we're gonna do a few different exercises here. The first one, we'll point our toes down onto the mat, pull the navel in. So it's like you can slide your hands right between your belly and the yoga mat. That's how much energy is in your core here. Head's gonna go down, and then you'll interlace your hands behind the back of your skull, elbows nice and wide. On your inhale, lift your elbows up nice and high. So as high and as wide as you can. Keep the navel pulling in, glutes squeezing, press your toes down, and then start to peel your chest up and off of your mat. And then exhale, lower yourself back down. We'll do that a few more times. So inhale, lifting yourself up, trying to keep your elbows lifting up towards the ceiling so that you can't see them anymore in your peripheral vision. And then exhale, slowly lowering down. Good. One more time like that. Inhale, lifting all the way up. And exhale, melting back down. Good. Hands will come down, and we'll start to use our blocks here. So there's 3 different heights of your block. Depending on how open your shoulders are, you're going to either use the lower, medium, or high setting. I happen to have incredibly open shoulders because I've been working on my mobility for a really long time. So I'm going to take my blocks at the highest height just to show you eventually what one day your shoulders might also be able to do. So we want to take our blocks on our height and have them be shoulder distance apart. Your hands are going to go right on top of the block. So I'll move my body back just a little bit and then take both of my hands, place them on top of the blocks, head down. So same idea, we want this hollow body position in the rest of our torso. So abs are in, I'm pressing my pubic bone down into the mat, I'm engaging my glutes, I'm pressing my toenails down into the ground, and then we'll just let our heads fall also onto the floor. Keeping the abs engaged. Your palms are pressing on top of the blocks, and then you'll inhale and lift your hands up and off the blocks, keeping your elbows as straight as they can go, and your hands pretty much shoulder distance apart. And then we'll hold here for 3, holding here for 2, and then slowly lower your hands back down to the blocks on 1. Doesn't look really challenging because I'm just moving my hands up an inch or maybe less, but I can assure you that that is really hard stuff. So we're going to do that a few more times. Abs in, head is down, press the toenails, squeeze the butt, and then lift the hands up, reaching the fingertips forward for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower it back down. Let's do 2 more times like that. So abs in, glutes engaged, toenails down, lift up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, lower down. Whew, one more time. Abs, glutes, toes. Lift it up for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Quick break, because we're going to work next on adding ranges of motion to that. So not just lifting your hands up, but getting the whole range of motion of the shoulder involved here. So coming back with hands on top of the blocks. Let the head go. Squeeze the butt. Engage the core. Press your toenails down. Lift your hands up and off of your blocks, and then circle your arms out and up to the side. Flip your palms, so knuckles down, palms up. Bend your elbows in half and tap your knuckles or your hands together, floating above the small of your back, and then we'll reverse that. Open it up, flip the palms down, circle the arms forward, and tap back down onto your blocks. Good. 2 more rounds like that. Abs, glutes, toes. Lift up, open it up, rotate your palms, bend your elbows, tap, re-extend the arms, flip the palms, come all the way back to the starting position. Okay, one more time. That's very intense. Lift your hands up. Reach them out to the side. Flip palms up, knuckles down. Bend the elbows in half. Re-extend the arms. Flip the palms again. Re-extend the arms up and overhead. Take a big breath in. And let it go on the exhale. All right, so if your shoulders aren't feeling worked out enough, we'll do some more stuff. Take the blocks and let's actually set them up here on the lowest setting. I want us to feel comfortable using the blocks in our more traditional shapes like down dog, chaturanga, and high plank. So we're going to press ourselves up onto our hands and knees tabletop and take the blocks about shoulder distance apart. So you're going to want there to be enough space in between the 2 blocks where basically your chest can fit in between them. Hands will come down on the blocks, and then we'll just tuck our toes and lift our hips up and back into our downward facing dog. So this is the first level of this thing we're going to do called a deficit push-up. And all that means is that our chest is going lower than it normally would. So on your inhale, you're going to roll forward into a high plank pose, top of your push-up. For this first one, let's actually tap our knees down to the ground because this is surprisingly challenging. You're gonna bend your elbows out to the side and lower your chest down so that your shoulders tap the top of your blocks, and then press yourself back up. If that felt like super easy for you, what I would recommend is taking your blocks here on the medium height. So this is where, when I'm doing this for my own body, I normally practice like this with blocks on the medium height. Pointer and index finger will go straight on the block, and then the rest of my fingers will wrap around the block here. So again, coming into our high plank pose, I'm gonna have to move my blocks out just a little bit so my chest can fit in between the two blocks. Abs are in, glutes are engaged. Shift the weight forward, bend your elbows, shoulders will tap the blocks here, elbows are up nice and high. And then you'll press yourself back up into your straight arms. So that's a lot, right? Normally in yoga, we go chaturanga, which is the bend the elbows part, and then we go up into an up dog. We're not normally practicing pressing back up into our high plank pose. So if that's challenging for you, this is a modification that you can take. Most of us can shift our weight forward on our straight legs and bend our elbows to our shoulders, tapping the blocks. To come up, tap your knees down to the ground, then press yourself back up into your straight arms. So we're gonna do 5 deficit push-ups in whatever modification you need. Knees on the ground the whole time, knees on the ground for just the ascent, or straight legs for the ascent and the descent. Let's try it. Okay, abs are in. Shift the weight forward, bend your elbows, shoulders to the block, chest down. Press yourself up, that's 1. 2 more times. Exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, press yourself up, 2. Exhale, bend the elbows. Inhale, press yourself back up, 3. 2 more times. Bend the elbows. Press yourself up, 4. And 1 more time here, bend your elbows. Press yourself back up, 5. Knees down, child's pose, hips to heels. Whew, that was a lot. Let's flip our blocks onto our lower setting. Palms on top of the blocks. Press down into the blocks and let your forehead just find the mat here. Now let's do 2 more breaths. Inhale. And exhale. And then 1 more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Cool, let's roll ourselves up to seat and set our blocks up for the beginning of our chin stand practice here. So I'm gonna take the blocks in the lowest setting, which is what I recommend for all bodies as we're using those blocks to help us get into chin stand. We're gonna do a few different things, including chaturanga on those blocks, 3-legged chaturanga on the blocks, and then finally attempting to get up into our chin stand. The blocks need to be shoulder distance apart so that your chest can pretty much fit inside of them. Your hands are gonna stay on the blocks the whole time here. So double check that your setup is good for you. And then let's go into our down dog with our hands on the blocks here. So it's probably gonna feel weird, right? Most of us don't practice with our hands on blocks in down dog, but this is a really lovely modification, especially if you find that your hamstrings are super tight one day. So on your inhale, let's just roll ourselves forward, come into our high plank, and figure out what chaturanga feels like on these blocks. Bend your elbows halfway down and pause. Point your toes behind you, 1, 2, come into your upward facing dog. And then exhale, lift your hips up and back, coming into your downward facing dog. Good, so that's a normal vinyasa on the blocks. We'll just do that 1 more time, just for our bodies to remember the feeling here. Shift the weight forward, high plank pose. Bend your elbows, lower halfway down, chaturanga. Point your toes behind you, lift your chest up, up dog, and then exhale, drag your hips up and back. You're coming into downward facing dog. Awesome, starting with the right leg. Float your right leg up to the sky, coming into your down dog split. So first thing we're gonna do here is just a 3-legged vinyasa. Roll your weight forward, bend your elbows, tap your shoulders on top of the blocks, 2 feet on the ground, upward facing dog is your inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good, let's try that on the left side. Left leg will go up towards the sky. Look forward, roll yourself forward, bend your elbows, tap your shoulders down to the blocks. 2 feet on the ground, upward facing dog, big breath in. Downward facing dog, big breath out. So if that was a lot for you, felt kind of precarious, a little bit scary, you were like, I don't know if I can hold my whole body up here, I want you to keep practicing those 3-legged vinyasas with your right leg as high as it can go into the sky. If you're like, okay, I feel pretty good, I feel pretty strong, pretty confident, we're gonna start to move this into our chin stand practice. So again, the blocks, sometimes they slide off to the side, so just adjust them. Make sure that both of your blocks are underneath your shoulders. Your chin is gonna lightly touch the ground as your shoulders balance on top of those blocks. So let's go ahead, give it a try. Right leg first, down dog split. Send the right leg up to the sky. Look where you wanna go. Forward in between the blocks. Roll your body there. Bend your elbows, tap your shoulders to the block. My right leg is super high. I can do these tiny little bounces here. Just lifting my left leg up, off the ground and on the ground. When I'm ready, chins down, both legs up. I'll come down into my upward facing dog, 1, 2 feet. And then exhale, downward facing dog, hips up and back. So obviously it's really hard to talk when your chin is on the ground like that. So I'm gonna encourage you here, while my face is not on the floor, to engage your core when you're up there and squeeze your butt as hard as you can. Glute squeeze, ab squeeze, squeeze the inner thighs together, and think again about that deficit push-up. Shoulders back, abs in, heart open. Okay, let's try it again. Hands down, butts up. Down dog, left leg. Float that guy up into the sky, take a down dog split. Big breath in here. Look where you want to go. Roll your body forward. Bend your elbows, shoulders on top of the blocks, and you can do these little hops. Right leg lifts off the mat. When you're ready, 2 feet up, chin down. Lower your feet, 1, 2, upward facing dog, big breath in. And then exhale, downward facing dog, hips up and back. Good, roll yourself forward, tap the knees down, roll the blocks off to the side. So I think of blocks with any arm balance kind of like training wheels. They give you a little bit of height away from the ground, which makes the angle of entry a little bit easier for most bodies. And I think in arm balances specifically, one of the things that people are most afraid of is face planting, breaking their nose. Like I actually know somebody who for real broke their nose inside crow. So like it's a real fear and it actually does happen. This one, it won't happen because your face is on the ground. So we're gonna take the blocks away now and see what it's like to do this chin stand without the assist or the training wheels of the blocks. It's gonna require a lot more glute strength, probably a little bit more kick up energy from your bottom leg. So let's go ahead and try it right side first. Hands down, feet down, butts up, down dog. Okay, right leg up to the sky, take a big breath in. Look where you wanna go, roll yourself forward, bend your elbows, chin down, 2 feet up. 2 feet down, upward facing dog. I'm surprised that I could speak during that one. And downward facing dog, hips will go up and back. I'm serious, it's very hard to speak when your face is on the ground. Left leg up to the sky, down dog split, inhale. Look where you wanna go, roll forward, bend the elbows, strong right glute. 2 feet down, upward facing dog, big breath in. And exhale, downward facing dog. Whew, big breath out, that was a lot. Nice guys, roll forward, child's pose. Hips to heels, take your hands behind you. Hold on to your heels, give your shoulders a break. Let's take 2 breaths here. Inhaling through the nose. Exhaling 1. 1 more big breath in. And big breath out. Good. Let's roll ourselves all the way up to seat. So those are the exercises that I would recommend to build the strength for your chin stand. You've got a lot of shoulder stuff. You've got that puppy pose in the beginning that's gonna open up your chest and also prepare your body for what it feels like to bear weight on the bottom of your chin and right here where your collarbones are. Then we went into some shoulder mobility stuff using our blocks, lifting our hands up, finding full range of motion with the shoulders. Next, we did some deficit push-ups on those blocks, and then we capped it all off with our chin stand progression. 3-legged chaturanga on the blocks, chin stand on the blocks, and finally, chin stand with our hands on the ground. So I hope you found that helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the comments below, and I will get back to you and help you troubleshoot your chin stand. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the mat again soon.